Hello and welcome to the Two Champs podcast. I'm Mike Amari. With me, as always, is Casey Ericson.
Hello, guys.
And across from me on the table here is Christopher Padilla.
Gentlemen.
And ladies.
And so, I guess this is the inaugural run of the YouTube's podcast.
This ain't the 1980s. There are women in the boxing gym now. All right, buddy?
I meant gentlemen to you guys.
I mean, we can use the all-inclusive gentleman. It just everyone can be a gentleman. It's fine.
Fair enough.
So this is kind of our inaugural run on your YouTube podcast for the Two Champs Gym. We've done a few audio ones previously.
We did.
So for the wider audience that we might be talking to here, for the newer people who might be coming in, as we've seen, we've had a lot of new people coming into the gym, a lot of people coming in training and really, experiencing what Two Champs is. What's something you'd like for people to take from this podcast?
Well, when we started, that was a few years ago.
Yeah, that was a little while ago.
It came out great, but since then we've had, so many new people, and I wanted to. The whole thing with Two Champs is becoming a community, and I want everybody in the community to have a platform for each other. And, this is going to give people kind of, a place to kind of tell their story, where they started with Two Champs. So what I want is for the people of Two Champs, is to have a platform to tell their story, their experiences here, for us. It's not for a million views on YouTube or the rest of the world. I want to, we're building a community here. We're all rooting for each other. We all have our own reasons why we're here.
Kind of have our own little corner of YouTube to be able to champion what each other are doing, give each other pointers. And...
Right. And to us, the people here are bigger than anybody else in the world. So, we get to hear from them straight up, one on one and right from the source. So I wanna give people a platform and everybody to kind of get to know each other within the community.
And that's something I do have to say that's one of the reasons I've been over a decade now with you guys. Yeah. It's the sense of community, no matter what gym you've been in, no matter who you've been training with, there's always a sense of community with the two of you as far as, as trainers. And you tend to attract people who build community. You tend to attract people who are bringing positive things to a gym, which is always just a pleasure to be part of.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you part of it. And since we did this last time, since then, so many new people have come. It's growing, and we've had people. It's insane. The event we had, people got to meet each other for the first time and put kind of names to faces.
Yeah.
Everybody's seen each other through the Instagram, which I'm working very hard on, by the way.
Why don't you drop that Instagram for people to let them know?
The Instagram is at Two Champs Boxing.
If I'm not lazy while I'm editing, I'll put that on the bottom there.
Put that on the bottom there.
There you go.
So yeah, it's really building, and people are really interested in each other. People are coming up to me, I saw that person on the Instagram. They're amazing, or so forth, and we get to kind of give them their platform, and everybody's meeting each other, and it's great.
And that's something where last Thursday night I'm training with a bunch of you guys, and we have a whole bunch of people here, and after we're done, everyone's not just packing up their stuff and going. Everyone's stopping. They're talking about what they saw the other person doing. They're giving pointers. They're giving their own experiences. Everyone has a little bit of knowledge to share with each other. And everyone, again, the communication between everyone, again, I've never seen a gym that way. I've never seen a gym that's been that close-knit.
I have. Padilla Boxing.
This is
the start.
The build from there.
That was the start.
Yeah, the camaraderie that we had down there is what I want to bring to Two Champs. That was a rare experience for us, and I want to recreate that.
All right, yeah, and it's something that I can definitely say you've been able to succeed at, and that's why you have such an explosion and growth of people coming through. And so this podcast, I guess, is going to act as a way for us to, however often we do it, be it bi-weekly, monthly, weekly, however
willing you are to come here and set up all this equipment. This was kind of last minute, guys. So we're winging this.
The thing you're going to learn is not so much the setting up the equipment; it's the editing afterwards that determines how quickly we do this.
You are going to do it for the cause, buddy. That's what you're going to do.
Always
you
for
die
the cause.
For that cause, as will I, as will he. All right. Chris is very cranky today, guys.
I'm not cranky.
It's always in a bad mood. You're always in a bad mood.
You're always in a bad mood.
So guys, and I tell you guys this, when everybody who comes here and they're involved in the classes, especially the sparring, when Chris talks, you listen, all right? Because this guy, he's been around since, at Gleason's gym with all the world champions. Chris is the one who trained me since I was a kid. You guys know that. We'll get into another episode. We'll talk about all that. But, you know, I'm a big Chuck as well. When Chris talks, please, guys, just listen, okay? So,
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's the truth.
You know, it's one of those situations where I've been lucky in a lot of things I've done with, like, I had a guitar teacher that was like that, where even when we weren't talking about scales or notes or anything, the conversations we were having, the ancillary discussions you have are adding onto your knowledge. It's giving you just that much more to build upon what you're doing. And it's the same thing here. Just, you'll have an impromptu, oh, here's a thing we noticed, and he'll just start showing us, and he'll start, you know, talking about it. And so it's a key part of growing in the sport, is being able to listen and absorb that knowledge.
Yeah, there's a weapon. We have the secret weapon in Chris. So it's
yeah, that's
it's a
the one
blessing.
thing I noticed in a lot of gyms. A lot of the big gyms I trained in, you know, trained in Freeport, trained in Gleason's gym, Hempstead, Westbury, but a lot of gyms I remember training in, the problem is there are some coaches that are fantastic coaches, and when they're speaking, especially nowadays, I notice a lot of kids there or boxers, whatever.
Right.
While this coach is speaking and giving advice, I'm stopped and I'm listening to this guy, and as experienced as I am, I'm soaking everything.
Of course, you can always learn, right? You can always learn something
Absolutely.
new.
And I look to the left of me, and there's a kid on his cell phone texting away, not even listening to what this guy has to say. And, you know, here's a guy, now I'm not going to mention his name, you know, maybe I should, but he's a phenomenal coach, and Joe Higgins. The guy has taught me many things in boxing, and taught me, especially when he took me to the Nationals, what he brought me from as a 40-year-old fighter, and he making me, just improving me. The amazing thing is, this guy would talk, and sometimes I'd notice people not even listening, and that, to me, it's not only is it disrespectful, but it's just, you're going to learn so much from a guy like this, someone who's a level 4 coach, who's an Olympic-style coach, and knows his stuff. You want to listen to guys like that. Guys like that are the ones, they bring you up. Very important. When I was in Gleason's gym, same thing.
Yeah, when we used to go to Freeport and spar Joe's guys, he's not a quiet man. You know,
No.
when we were at one of Pat's fights, he was screaming so loud it actually hit one of the monitors and started generating through the arena.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But you hear him in every fight. He's screaming through the corner, and you know, sometimes you're like, man, I'm gonna follow that guy's advice too. It was a pretty good point.
And
he's talking to the other fighter.
It's usually what separates the people.
Also, my point. I don't mean to interrupt you, but your coach is a weapon. You know, you gotta really listen and use them, because you know that's, especially with someone with that experience.
Yeah,
like
I
he's
always
saying.
fought my best with him in the corner. I always fought my absolute best. There's just no one else could pump me like that and get me going. Even when he was wrapping my hands, it was just the energy was there, and it was just amazing.
And it is the thing that winds up separating the people who tend to go further with the sport than those who don't, or the ones who are willing to listen and willing to recognize when there is more to learn. And it's not just, I'm coming in, doing my hour or 2 hours worth of workouts, working through my workouts and leaving. It's making sure you're present and part of it, and taking everything you can get from the experience of being in the gym, which, like you said, unfortunately it's not everybody, you know. And again, it separates kind of who's going to push and who's not going to push.
Well, we know who's going to go further than others. The ones that do listen, and the ones that train that like dogs. The ones that work as hard as they can. Those are the ones that are going to go. The ones that don't listen, and the ones that want to just post stuff on Instagram of them hitting the bags and knocking guys out in sparring. That's not it. That's not what's going to make you great.
That's not the work.
You can post all the Instagram stuff you want of you hitting the bag or knocking out subpar guys in sparring. I can't stand that. You know, I'm old-fashioned. I'm old school. This Instagram thing is great. It's great for promotion and everything else. But I'm watching Instagram these days, and I see guys in sparring posting tons of sparring videos of them knocking guys out or throwing great combinations.
Right.
Let me say something to you guys. It's just sparring. Doesn't matter what you do in sparring. Sparring is where you learn. I don't care if you knock out 100 guys in sparring a week. It's what you do under the lights in the fight. I don't care about your sparring. You could wear the 16-ounce gloves and knock everybody out you want. It doesn't mean Nothing.
And that should go the other way too. Like, you know, if you don't have your best night in there and you go out the door with your tail between your legs, it's like, listen, man, you signed up for the hardest sport in the world. You know, come on.
Right, and and that's actually one of the things. I think that's we had mentioned that it's kind of where we want to spend a lot of our time today, is talking about the idea of, we all know how to react to success. Like, when we get success, we tend to know how to react to that. It's what we do when we have adversity, when something comes up and causes us to have to take a step back or pushes us down a little bit.
And let's just say before that, that's the coach's fault when it comes to sparring like that. If you hurt a man in sparring, regardless, whatever his experience level is, you hurt a guy in sparring, you back off. Right. You don't knock him out. You don't hurt the guy. You don't embarrass him, and you don't post it online. No. You know, like I said, I'm old school. Years ago, you didn't post this stuff online. You didn't tape sparring. You didn't post it online. And if you did tape sparring, you kept it for yourself.
Right. It was being used. Learn. It was being used as a tool.
As a tool.
Yeah.
Not to post and embarrass another man and to knock another man out. If you hurt a man in sparring, you got to back off and give the guy a chance to recover. You get hurt in there. There's no reason for that. That's the coach's fault.
The whole point of sparring is to make sure that you're pushing not only your level of intensity, but also, all right, you're learning while you're in there, and you're working with someone, and you want to make sure that someone's in there. If you just go and beat someone's face in as hard as you can because you have more experience level than them, they're not going to get anything from that, and you're not going to get anything.
You get hurt in controlled sparring,
right?
Well, you got Well,
controlled sparring,
right? Well, you got to be careful here, because there is a happy medium, and like Chris did a great job of that when he was coaching us, you know. And you got to know who to do this with. But there's a happy medium of, you know, if you have the anticipation or the intent to, you really want to get out there and fight and box at a serious level. Yeah, they don't play. People don't play out there, so you know,
have to spar hard.
Listen,
that's
absolute. And me and Chris, we look out for all of, you know, we care. Our hearts are invested in everyone, so we're always gonna, you know, I tell them, you know, you're not gonna put you in something that you're not ready for, but if you're going out there, you better be ready. You know what I mean? So there is a happy medium between, you know, allowing the fighter to. Allowing each other to open up, and you got to choose who you do that with, because they have to experience that before they experience it for the first time out there.
Oh, of course, and I think that's.
And Chris, and I don't mean to keep interrupting, but Chris knew how to push us that way and build us up to that. You know, you don't take a new guy. You know, I mean, Bulldog, Devil Dog, Mercenary. You guys have been slowly building to that, and now you're at the point where you can handle that. If I had thrown, you'd done that right from the bat, it could have been a discouraging thing, and you got to be careful with. You know, who you allow to go to that extent.
Of course. And like to both of your point, it comes down to having the knowledge of when to push, when to come back.
I don't remember you ever giving me any easy going sparring. Where's this nice guy now? Now all of a sudden he's Saint Nicholas. This is a cruel man. This is a cruel.
You guys
man.
wanted to fight. There's a difference between when you got people that come into your gym that just want to learn how to box. And just get in there and give it a try.
Which is nothing wrong with.
There's nothing wrong with learning. There's nothing wrong with saying, I want to try to spar. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you come into the gym and you spar, and then you say, hey, I want to compete, guess what?
Right.
Sparring's got to be hard. A lot of the times it has to be uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And that's the way it is. But again, you've got to make sure as a coach, and you got to make sure there's a happy medium to that nobody gets hurt. You got to make sure. Nobody's in there to knock anybody out. That nobody comes in here and puts their iPhone up to tape it and goes in there to show off. Right. You got to make sure the guy has the right gloves on. These guys come into the gym with these Mexican-style gloves, these Reyes gloves, and they're pounding guys with them. You know, that's ridiculous. And that's the coach's job to make sure that doesn't happen. That's the problem today. I look on a lot of videos online, and I see these guys wearing these Mexican-style gloves. God knows what hand wraps they have under. Mm-hmm. None of these coaches ever check this stuff, and that's important. That's very important, and you don't want to get these kids hurt. You want them to excel, but you don't want them to get hurt, and that's important.
I would say, to your point, so generally how we'll go in there for those who haven't done sparring, who are curious about, well, how do you strike that happy medium? You know, a lot of times, so like I'll get in there and triple C, right? we'll get in there and we'll spar, and we're both very experienced, and we'll push each other. He'll go, as you know, he'll start ramping up, I'll start ramping up, and you start feeding off the other guy. The minute you realizing that the other guy is either hurt or backing down, or maybe you don't realize it, you get in there and you get that kind of like, you know, you're both throwing real hard. That's where, like you said, the coach comes in. We're always listening, we're always seeing, and you guys will always let us know if we're taking it too far. As our experience levels grow, of course, we tend to be better at working with the guy in there. And it's invaluable to have someone who knows how to work with somebody.
That's where the coach
in
comes
the ring.
in. And when I spar, Casey's outside the ring, and I'll hear him say, "Hey guys, tone it down."
Right.
You have to tone it down because it does. You start to feed off each other.
Of course, yeah.
It gets competitive. Look, it's a competitive sport.
Right.
You know, ego does come into play. There's nothing you could do about that. Ego comes into play, but that's what the coach is there for.
Right.
And to talk about a guy who passed away years ago, Emmanuel Stewart, who was a great coach, he said that he never allowed Tommy the Hitman Hearns and Michael Mora to spar in the gym because he knew that it would be too heavy and too hard, and it would hurt.
And the egos would be too big
the
on
both of
them,
them.
yeah.
And there was no reason to have the two of them spar and landing those heavy shots on each other. And that's exactly what he said in an interview. So,
well, knowing your boxers, I mean, that's the thing. Knowing the people you're working with, and it's incredible how hard it can be to find people who are able to do that with the boxers sometimes. Like, you know, I feel very, like I said, very lucky that I have two such coaches here who absolutely know not only the importance of that, but how to do that, because that's not everywhere you're going to go. And I mean, and that is important because one of the things that we always try to stress here is that this is a sport that we love. It's a fun sport that we absolutely have a great time doing. It is a very serious sport, though, because it is something that can be extremely dangerous. You know, it is something where, you know, every sport has an element of danger. You can always get injured. You can always have, you know, something that's going to sideline you. With boxing, it is a combat sport. It's something that can cause some serious and permanent damage if you don't have the right coach, if you're not handling yourself the right way, or even if, honestly, even if you're doing everything right, you can still have some very serious circumstances where someone goes away very injured or, you know, or worse.
Right, and that's a good bleed into you know, who obviously we all know, Patrick Day,
Yeah.
who died in the ring. People have to know what they're watching, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, we were going to talk about Pat and, you know, some things we wanted to say about him.
When you go on to the professional level, is the thing is and we talk about this all the time, people sitting at home and they're watching boxing and they don't know what they're looking at 90% of the time. They don't know the intensity that's in there with a professional fight.
They really don't.
And how much it does take out of a person.
They really don't.
And just how close it is a lot of times to someone being seriously, seriously hurt in there. And how protecting yourself can be very difficult, you know, when you're in the ring.
Amateurs die.
Yeah.
Amateurs get hit and die with headgear on. It happens. And that's the sport we're in. And to bring up Patrick, that was his dream, was to excel and to go up in the ranks. And he did.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic amateur, national champion, Golden Gloves champion, one of the nicest guys you'd meet. And I trained alongside him for many years. And as young as he was, I looked up to him. I learned a lot from him. And I remember after I won my first national fight, and I texted him, and I said to him, "Hey, man, I won. It's amazing." And he texted me back, and he said, "Hey, don't celebrate too soon. You have to fight again tomorrow for the championship. Go home and get some rest." And that was that experience talking, because he had done that before. I'd never fought 2 nights in a row. So it was something, and it was this is a 21-year-old kid saying this.
But who had that level of experience, who had moved to that level in the sport. And, you know, it speaks to how much we can learn from each other.
Yeah. It was an honor to share the ring with him. It was an honor to train alongside him for so many years and watch him grow. And to be in the ring with him and spar with him was absolutely amazing. And when he won at the Nassau Coliseum. Casey and I were there, and he won the WBC Continental Championship, and he beat a hell of a fighter for that. He dropped the guy, and he looked amazing that night. And I remember going back to the dressing room with him that night and cutting his hand wraps off while he sat on the table with the belt. And he looked at me and he said, "Hey, Chris, you're my #1 supporter, man. Thank you so much." you were there the whole time saying, that I'd make it, and look at this, I made it. And that was so touching to hear him say that. And I watched the fight where, unfortunately we lost him. And but his memory's always going to be there. He's a fantastic guy. He lit up Freeport every time he walked in. He shook everybody's hand. Everybody. When he walked into that gym, he went up to everyone and shook their hand.
I was going to say, I spent very little time at Freeport. I spent about a summer with you there. It was an incredible experience training there. And I remember, I unfortunately did not know him very well, but the times when he was there, he was a presence that kind of like elevated everyone's energy level in the gym. Like you said, he would walk in and he was just, again, talking to everyone, shaking everyone's hand, checking to see what everyone's doing, what workouts they were doing. He kind of jumping in with everybody. Just willing to do the work with just about everyone, as well as what he was doing in there.
He worked so hard.
Yeah.
And for people to say that, I hear a lot of things said, and I'm going to say it right now. For a lot of people to say that he was pushed and that he was pushed too far, no, he wasn't. He wasn't. He loved what he was doing. He loved being in the gym. He hated being away from the gym, and he loved training. And, I remember it being in the dressing room with him once in Freeport in the locker room, and I said to him, how do you feel before fights? You that nervous or whatever? He says, yeah, I am, but I always say to myself, I put myself here, and that's what inspires me to go on.
Right.
And he loved it. He loved it. He loved being on the dais. He loved speaking. He smiled. He had a smile that would light up the room, and that's what he loved doing. And nobody pushed him. Nobody made him do what he did. Nobody made him fight those fights. He wanted to fight those fights. He loved being a fighter. He loved what he did. And unfortunately, sadly, we had to lose him, and that's the worst part of it all. That's a sad ending. But there's nothing else I could say about him other than he was just one of the brightest stars out there.
Yeah, one of immense talent, just an immense talent.
Yeah, I got to fight at the same night with Pat a few times, and I knew it was going to be a very good spectacle that night, and I have a bunch of memories of Pat. I mean, even when he was a kid, he had that experience. I mean, I remember fighting at Freeport, and I was in the back dressing room with him, and everyone was, the kid who I got matched up with, I don't think they liked him very much because they were all like, "Is he knock him out, man? I hate this kid." And that's like, no pressure though, no pressure. I'm like, Pat, I got this one. It's okay. But Pat was always there, kind of. You could see how comfortable he was in the element, and he made you comfortable. And Pat, I mean, I have a lot of memories with Pat.
He lived in the sport. Like that was his community. That was where he was.
Yeah, and one memory I want to make, more about him is one day I went over to watch Pat spar Danny Jacobs, the middleweight champion of the world, and I got to watch him and Danny do 8 rounds, and I remember, yeah, it was great, man. And I remember Pat coming up to me before and was like, "Listen, Danny's real hard to hit. I remember him telling me I just try to go loose as I can, like a noodle in there. That's what he said. He's like, I try to go as loose as a noodle, not tense like that." He goes, and I was like, "But Danny does that even better, and he's so hard to hit." So I was like, Pat, just listen, man. Go in there and you're a professional. You're a champion. You belong in there. And I remember Pepin talking him up a little bit, and he was like, thank you. And he went in there, and then after they did 8 rounds, great. He looked like a solid pro.
Yeah.
He looked like a solid pro. I mean, Danny was doing his thing obviously, but Pat looked good in there. And he came up to me after. He's like, "You see what I mean? It's hard to hit." And I was like, "Pat, look, man. You don't look too far off in there, man. You don't look like someone who doesn't belong in there. I'm giving you my word, man to man. I'm telling you right now, you look like you belong in there." And he was like, "Wow, thank you." Wow. So I'm glad I was able to give him that that day. And Pat, like you said, he loved boxing so much. I mean, you go listen to his interview the night before the fight.
Right.
It'll tell you everything you need to hear. The words he was saying about boxing and how it's his life and how he'd rather be doing nothing in the world. Pat gave his life to boxing before he died. So it's like, it's ironic how he wanted to be such a star and bring boxing to a place. And he didn't do it the way he wanted to, but he did. And he gave people a totally newfound respect to what they're watching. And he brought
living
boxing
on his own terms.
He brought boxing back in that way. Now people, when they look at it, they have a true understanding of what it really is,
right.
And we have to thank Pat for that.
Yeah.
So we have to thank Pat for showing us so much, and how dangerous this sport is. How dangerous this sport really is. Even no matter how great of shape you're in, no matter how prepared you are, this is the sport you've chosen, and this is what could happen to you. You know, there's guys out there that end up in bad places from this sport, and it happens. And there are guys that end up fine. It just depends on the, the outcome. It's sad it happened. It's just a terrible thing, and he'll always be with us. He'll always be in our memories. He'll always be, his pictures on the wall up in the gym, and he's always remembered. Say for Instagram, the Patrick Day Project. It's one of the things we're going to put on, and for remembrance of Patrick, and also it also reaches out for the boxes at Freeport. If you go to the Patrick Day Project on Instagram, you'll see a lot on the website, and probably this podcast too. And it was started by Freeport Boxing, and Joe Higgins, a phenomenal coach and a great mentor of mine for a good 5-6 years of my boxing career. And I learned a lot from him. A lot of us learned a lot from him, and and also a great guy. So it's good. It's for a good cause. It's for a good person who we lost, unfortunately, in our life, but he'll always be in our hearts. So again, it's the Patrick Day Project on Instagram.
So yeah, and it's a sport where it's no walk in the park. It's something where you have to be prepared for anything.
Yeah.
And to the point we were saying before, you have to be ready to deal with adversity, right? You're not always going to have the best night, and really how you respond to that is going to be it's going to help determine like where you're going with the sport.
Right. So this is going to be an ongoing topic, guys, for probably forever. It's facing adversity. And one thing I want all you guys to walk away with when you're coming in here, you're not just coming in here to work out or whatever that is. You're coming in here to learn, and you're coming in here to learn how to deal with adversity, and that's going to help you in your life. And this, we're talking here about like the 1% of people who are fighting at that degree,
right,
and probably the 5% of people at Two Champs who are sparring and we're interested in that.
Right.
But for as far as everybody who trains here, you're going to hear us use a lot of nicknames. This is how you know it's for the Two Champs community. I'm like Kangaroo Joe, Triple C, the Blonde Bomber. No, this is for
no one has an actual name. They get mad at you actually when you decide to introduce yourself by your real name.
Big Truck tries to go. He goes, "Hey, I'm Mike." I hear him whispering. He's like, "Hey, I'm Mike." I'm like, "Truck."
Yeah, I haven't been Mike for a long time to these guys.
Mike is dead around here. Buddy.
Anyway, Big Truck.
Anyway, you guys have to learn how to deal with adversity, and not get so much in your emotions and in your head, and get so frustrated to the point where you're discouraging. You got to learn how to deal with adversity. You got to learn how to deal with some heat and coach yourself through some moments. And me and Chris, what Chris did for me is he instilled a lot of character in me that I learned in boxing, but it stays with you. It doesn't end when the bell goes off. I mean, it stays with you in your life. And I want people here, my goal is to build them a fighter's mentality. I want you guys to have a fighter's mentality. And, that's going to get you through a lot of things in life. And this is why this gym is special, because we're giving you guys that. We want to give you guys that. And, the lessons that Chris and me have learned ourselves just by over the years, I mean, it's really valuable stuff. And we get to, slowly get you guys, you Truck have already kind of,
yeah, I mean,
you've been in it for so many years, but, it's something that you guys, we want you guys to have, and it's rare.
It's an interesting thing because I noticed it within the first year of me starting to train, how I was dealing with things outside of the gym started changing. Dealing with the little adversities you have in life, right?
It's all mental, man. Tell them.
And it's just the amount of the massive shift in how I was looking at my everyday life and how serious I was taking some adversity I was facing, like at work or say, just on your day to day. So I'm a school teacher for anyone watching this who doesn't know, and I get nervous about observations. Administrator comes in, watch you do your job, and it's always, fine, it goes well, but you get very nervous doing it because you're having someone come in and watching you do this.
I got to tell them how cool I thought I was hitting a teacher back in the day. I was like, I finally got my hands on one.
And so like,
I love a lot of my teachers.
I remember getting though, nervous to the point of like, I'm going to puke. Like I was getting so, and it was crippling, the anxiety for it. And then I started doing this, and all of a sudden I started realizing I was getting nervous before an observation, and I stopped myself. I'm like, why? I was like 2 days ago, I was in a ring with someone like twice my size. I was dealing with adversity.
Facing your fears.
I was getting hit, but I was responding to it. I was moving. I was like, I learned a lot about how I deal with problems. And it helped push me to a level where, okay, I have an issue in front of me. Instead of getting nervous or upset about it, deal with it.
Right.
Like,
And
push through it.
And that doesn't, you don't just get that.
No.
You know, you don't have to, no, you don't just get that. You got to earn that. And that, you don't earn that only by, you know, you have to get in with somebody or
Of
fight.
course,
You
no.
know, you get that by just dealing with the training and the mental training and the learning and not getting frustrated and not getting discouraged and doing things that you're uncomfortable with. We have a big sign over there, get comfortable being uncomfortable. That's the best advice anybody can have. And I don't want to say that there's a loser's mentality, but there kind of is. You know,
Right.
you have to be able to adjust and be versatile. And when, because things, you got to be tough.
Yeah, things don't always go your way.
It sucks out there.
Yeah, things don't always go your way.
It sucks out there, all right? Life don't care. You got to be tough, and we're going to make you tough. Give me 30 push-ups. Now, Joe.
It's a
Oh, you're going to give me the push-ups when this is over.
Eventually, yes. The funny thing is, though, and it's not even just about sparring. Even before I was sparring, I was doing things that I'd never thought I was going to do. Like I was training, doing exercises. I was pushing myself physically to do things and mentally to do things before even getting into a ring and strapping on gloves with somebody that I didn't think I was ever going to be able to do. And you find yourself, even if you're just someone who is working out and you're on the rope and it's 2 hours into your workout and you want to die, you just want to die. You're doing the rope and you just hate it. And you have a choice in that moment. You're either going to push yourself or you're going to stop. And listen, you'll push yourself, you'll falter sometimes when you push yourself, but that's fine because you're pushing yourself. You're still trying. Or you just stop. And you find out about yourself, who am I? Am I someone who's going to push? Am I someone who's just going to stop and say, okay, I've had enough, I'm done?
Yeah, and let's give a shout out to Venom Velez for pushing today. Very good kid. Very good.
He did push today. He did.
Yeah, whenever he's in here, he's always pushing.
Yeah, he pushed hard today.
The pain is coming one way or another. So you either learn how to deal with it or you let it just totally cripple you. Because at some point, it's coming.
Right.
This sport weeds out those who do not belong.
Right.
Period. And that's it. Those who do not belong get weeded out really quickly. Like I said, if you're just here to get in the ring and spar a little bit and have some fun and stay in shape, amazing, perfect. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But if you want to compete and you want to fight, I'm not going to be that nice to you as a coach. I'm going to do the right thing by you because I have to keep you safe. And I have to make sure you don't embarrass yourself. You don't get yourself hurt. And you don't embarrass, the sport. You don't just want to jump in there and fight and just say, I sparred a few rounds, I jumped rope, I ran one day, and I'm going to get in there and compete. That's not the way to do it. That's not the way to do it. It's embarrassing. There's no reason for that. You got to train your best no matter who you're fighting, no matter what you're doing. That's what's going to separate you from everybody else. The work you put in, the intensity you put in, and how you perform under the lights, not in sparring, under the lights. I don't care if you're in sparring, if you're showing up and you're doing your work and you're giving it your best in sparring and you're learning. Yeah. But once you get under those lights, that's when it all comes together. That's when it counts.
World. Completely different experience, yeah.
That's it. Again, I don't care who you beat up in sparring. I don't care how many guys you can beat up in sparring. I don't care if you tell me, I boxed a champ of the world last week and I outboxed him. Yeah, you sparred him. Yeah. He probably wasn't even going half on you. He was probably taking it easy on you. He's probably just working. Guys don't realize that. Guys get in the ring with a guy who's very experienced and they're not experienced. The other guy's not hurting you.
Right.
He's working with you. Trust me, if he wants to hurt you, he's going to hurt you. Right. He's going to hurt you. Yeah. But he's not. He's working with you. And that's how you learn. And that's how you get better. And then you're going to have those sparring sessions where you get in there with a guy at your own level and you have to dig down and push and be tired and push yourself hard. That's when you're going to even excel just that little bit more. And that's how it starts and that's where it begins. And again, if you're not ready to do that, don't compete.
Yeah, and one thing you taught, just learning from you as a coach, you told me once, you got to earn your way in that ring. You got to earn your way. You don't just get to walk into the gym and start sparring. And
No.
You have to earn your way in there. And I mean, that's what it is. That's the kind of character you have to show.
Again, there's nothing wrong with just saying, hey, I want to get some equipment, and
Right.
I want to get a mouthpiece, and I want to spar.
I don't recommend.
Try it.
I don't recommend
That's
anybody
fine.
to fight. I just know,
No.
we're not well in the head.
And it's one of those things where it's, again, you learn a few things about yourself. Like for me, it was, I thought I wanted to box the very first time I came in.
And,
right?
and that's
I'm like, I
the
want to go
people
fight.
that's the people who they already made up their minds.
But here's the thing: a lot of people say that.
Sure.
I know a lot of people.
Then they get hit.
And they
Right,
get hit.
and so for me,
the
it
ones
came-
who get hit and still have that mindset, that's
Right.
the ones you know.
And that's the thing. Like a lot of people come in thinking they know what they want, but being able to, like, that's where dealing with adversity comes in, right?
Yeah.
Being able to be honest with yourself and be, okay, this is not for me, is a perfectly valid response to that. I mean, like, okay, I'm gonna go and not do this because it's not for me.
Right.
As opposed to, well, I'm gonna keep pushing even though I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna do it for the wrong reasons. There are a lot of people who do it for the wrong reasons.
Right. Like I put on a pair of ice skates and went out there and tried playing hockey once, and I said, "This is not for me."
I would pay so much money to see you on ice skates. Oh my god!
I'm not
I
bad,
love ice
but it
skates,
just-
man.
What about you, buddy? Your football days and your basketball days. You still shoot hoops, right?
Yeah, right. I'm out there all day with the hoops. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not for me.
Oh,
That
man.
wasn't for me. Boxing was me.
Well,
that was it.
Yeah. The thing about boxing, about the sport is, how much how much character you show, as opposed to, I don't know. I know other sport. Being an athlete, you do show character, but boxing, the chamber of truth. It's called the
Right.
chamber of truth for a reason.
Again, because you're
you know?
instantly being put in a position where you have to deal with
Right.
adversity.
Right, yeah.
You are. It is conflict brought to you. There is never a point where you're waiting for something to happen.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
Listen,
so you're
I've
not
been
in the
gyms where
outfield.
I've seen
Yeah.
coaches, and I'm sure this coach will know who he is. But I've seen a coach tell a guy straight out. I was standing right there. Tell him, listen, if you want to fight in the gloves, that's great. You want to sign up for it, go on ahead. But I'm not going to work your corner.
Mhm.
And you're not going to put your name down on this gym. You'll go unattached.
Right.
Because you're not here. You don't train. You're only here once in a while. And I'm not going to let you embarrass yourself and embarrass the gym.
Yeah.
You're not going to do it. And that's what you're going to do. You're just going to embarrass yourself because you're never here. You're never training. And you just want to go into a Golden Gloves tournament. And for what? To get a shirt? It's not going to work. Not going to work. You want to do it? That's up to you. But don't involve my gym.
Doing it just to say
Nothing
you
wrong
did
with
it
that.
is
No.
yeah.
Because again, if that kid gets hurt, that guy, that man, that kid, that guy gets hurt, that's on you as the coach.
Yeah.
Because the guy wasn't prepared. You've got to prepare. People don't understand competition. When people tell me, oh, it's only 3 rounds. No, it's not only 3 rounds. People don't realize that 3 rounds is tough. They don't understand that. First of all, that wait in the dressing room is tough enough. Okay, and the sparring leading up to that fight is tough enough. And now you're in that dressing room, and now you haven't done your running. Now you've been sparring easy guys. You've been sparring light. You've been sparring guys that you know you can handle. You're sparring in your backyard with a couple of your friends, and you think, oh, I'm knocking them down. That's not preparing you. That's not preparing you for a guy who's going to be in front of you, who is prepared, and he's going to come at you hard.
Yeah.
And he's been sparring with hard guys, and he's been doing hard things all the time, and you've been doing easy things. And now you're doing that easy thing, and now you got to do a hard thing. And now what are you going to do when that hard thing presents itself? And you can't, because all you've been doing is cutting corners, cutting corners and cutting corners. You can't.
That's a great way. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
You got to do hard things so you can be prepared for hard things.
You got to
No
do
real
things
shortcuts
in
in
this
this.
sport that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
You got to do things in this sport that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Okay? You got to spar on days you don't want to go spar. That's the part of competition that's
You
tough.
got to do rounds when you want to rest.
Yeah.
You got to
Right.
force yourself. A lot of you guys and girls have been doing that and showing great character. And you guys should be proud of yourselves because you really are learning and you're working hard and you're applying yourself. And you know, a lot of you guys get frustrated sometimes or whatever, but that's what you're supposed to be feeling because it's hard. It's hard. It's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it and it wouldn't be special. So be grateful that you're allowing yourself to dig down and you know and put yourself through that, because you're getting rewarded for it. Even if you don't feel it right away, you are, because there's going to be a situation that comes along and you did harder. You did harder in the gym. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's that, and that's a great way to put it. That's a great way to put it. Man, that's awesome. All right, well let's. How
are we bringing this home?
I want to lighten the mood a little too. You know, some heavy talk. We got to get into some. Hey, Blonde Bomber, congratulations,
yeah,
Blonde Bomber, congratulations.
Yeah, so I was gonna say we want to finish off with this kind of shout outs to people at the
gym.
Yeah,
shout outs to people at the gym. I want to
we've had this week.
Yes. Okay, so the Two Champs news is out. The Blonde Bomber has graduated elementary school. Let's give him a little bit of
nice.
He's on the show next week. If you guys miss it, you're just foolish. You're just the wisdom that this kid has, the wittiness. Yeah, I love this
very
kid
much
like
looking
my
forward
son.
to doing that. That is good.
He's going into Cary High School next year, so I'm like, man,
it's great, huh?
I started training him when I was 8.
Wow.
I started training him when he was 8, and he's growing up, man. But he's the best. He's the best. And you know, I want to. I want to give a couple of shout outs to people that's been going on this week. Anything in particular that you remember that's happened this week?
That's happened this week.
Yeah, or that's like 3 weeks. I know. Listen, I got to say something about Bulldog and Devil Dog. Man.
Those two guys put on a hell of a show
Yes.
when they spar each other, and they give everything they can, and there's no quit in either one of them.
No quit.
I'm so impressed by both those guys.
Unbelievable.
You gentlemen are two. Not only are you gentlemen, but you're both warriors, and you're a credit to this gym.
Yeah, the way you guys push each other, and like,
they're a credit to this gym. Those two guys, and I can't say enough good things about them. I can't. And Mercenary, all those guys, but
check out Mercenary's
their credit to the gym. Yeah, Mercenary's got a great journey too,
and like I said, everybody.
Mercenary going to make us some pizza soon, so
yeah,
for that.
Everybody has their, you know, I'm so glad I have this, because now we can get them on and, you know, kind of give them that spotlight that they're
kind of hearing part of everyone's journey.
We're interested, man. Yeah, everybody's interested. I know they come in and they're like, who's that? Who's that? You know, and you know, so I'm looking forward to having that. Chris can't make rice, and that's the end of that.
That's one thing a
man can't cook rice. I mean, it's so simple, and he just can't do it. You know, why can't you do it?
I can't do it. I can make everything else.
What's canned? There ain't no cans. There ain't no cans.
Now he will beat you uglier than you are now.
Why? Oh yeah,
the other thing that's coming that's been up and coming and doing very well. Casey started it, and he's been doing fine, great with it. The women's class,
right?
All the women I've been watching a lot of you ladies on Instagram, and yous all look very good, and yous are all performing very good and training very hard. And you know, there are two women that are looking great that want to spar, and they're starting to really come along. The both of them. Yeah. And I've been watching both of them closely as they progress, and they're looking good.
They're looking great, and I want to take the floor on that for a minute, because you know, Chris doesn't give compliments. I've never gotten one, and so you guys should be proud of that. And what I love about that class is, you know, like a lot of people, they've never experienced that before.
Right.
They never experienced being in a box gym with other people and being next to somebody. And you know, I think a normal, natural thing for a lot of people is to start who are new. To start comparing themselves and doing that, and they are putting themselves in a situation where they're not comfortable with, and they put themselves there, and they're doing it, and they're continuing to do it. They're making an effort to come week after week, and I know you guys are not comfortable, but you're making the effort to learn and be comfortable being uncomfortable, and you guys are doing great. I mean, you guys should be so proud of yourself. There's a camaraderie that you just can't beat, that me, Chris made, and that I experienced growing up. I was lucky enough to experience with these gentlemen here.
And then you're building a community of people who are just feeding into that.
And I want you guys to have that. And part of being around people like that and other people and someone who's stronger and someone who's faster, or you guys all have your own styles. You know, there's no need to compare. But they push you, they challenge you, and you learn things from other people. And they're not you. They do what they do the best, and you guys do what you do the best. And, you know, you guys are putting yourself in that situation, and it's new to you guys, and you guys are doing great. And, yeah, I think you guys are starting to really excel from that. I had one more thing I wanted to say too, but I'm trying to think. What was it? Right, and you get better from being around, other walks of life and putting yourself in a situation where there is someone next to you who's maybe working harder. That's going to give you the incentive to work harder yourself. And you, instead of sitting back and kind of taking your own experience as a negative one, you got to look around and say, listen, this is new to me. This is uncomfortable to me, and that's a good thing because this is pushing me to go harder. And that's they're doing great.
It becomes the
that.
fuel to drive you.
And I want to say for one other guy too that not only has he been improving, he's been pushing himself even with his schedule, as crazy as his schedule is. And listen, as we get older and we have families, we have kids and wives and everything else, it gets a lot harder to compete and it gets a lot harder to spar, and we have to travel to work, and we have kids at home, and we have so much going on. But this guy here, Big Truck,
man,
he's been putting in a ton of work, and he's been improving. And he's gone from having one left foot to two left feet to a right foot and a left foot. And not only that, he's pushing himself through 4 straight rounds with young kids. At 40 years old, and he's working a full-time job, driving back and forth. He's got 2 kids at home, a wife, and he's busting his ass, and he's working his hardest to get himself in the best shape possible, and he wants to compete. Yeah. And I think he has a great chance next year to win that Gleason's Masters Championship. I really do.
Absolutely.
If he keeps it up, the improvement he's shown. And you guys should watch him and take a little note from him. He gets in the ring and he doesn't just push himself through 2 rounds. He pushes himself through 4 straight rounds with 3 different guys sometimes. Young guys half his age. So take note of that. Take note of that a guy can do that. That's all mental. That's mental. This is a guy who's coming from working all day in Brooklyn, driving here and getting here at 8 o'clock and getting in the ring and sparring. Not home all day resting and relaxing. And no, he's doing that, and that's a mental thing. He gets in here and he mentally pushes himself through it, and he looks pretty damn good doing it.
Damn good. And
you guys, credit to you.
You guys got a lot of role models around you, and a lot of great characters and people to learn from. So, please use it. Now that they have a platform, it's going to be great. Chuck, you're one of those guys, man.
Thank you, man.
You've always been.
Like I said, it's the community.
Chuck, you've always been. You've always been, man, from day one. You can't teach the things you got. You can't teach the things you got.
And like I said, it's the community pushes me. Like, this gym, you guys as coaches, the people who we're working with in here, it's like you said, a constant inspiration every time we're in here. Like the people we work with, the people we're training with, just are what help us push ourselves to the next level. But yeah, thank you. That's amazing to hear.
2 champs forever.
Thank you.
Not for life. Forever.
Yeah, we just hit the table there.
Yeah,
I did.
All right.
I touched the table.
There ain't no way out now, guys. Just so you know.
So, and
you better not cut that out, buddy. They got to know.
I'm not going to cut that out.
They got to know what they got.
I will say, I'm going to do a little shout out too, because after 10 years of me doing this, finally convinced my wife, Mrs. Big Truck, Tara.
This is a 2-truck garage.
Yeah, she started. She finally started training, and she's loving it.
And let me tell you, she's doing great too.
Yeah, no, she's really taken to it.
She's improved a lot. She's improved so much.
She's really taken to it.
I'm proud of her.
She's having a lot of fun with it. And I've been extremely proud to see what she's been doing too. Like, again, putting herself in situations where she's not comfortable with it, where it's something where it's pushing her physically, and she's just getting better each time we're down here. And this
is perfect for marketing for me. Can you tell how beneficial as couples it is to box together?
Oh, listen, I gotta tell you,
I have a lot of couple clients and they love it.
It is.
I think
really
I've saved
great.
a few marriages.
I was gonna say it's awesome because it's the shared experience. Anytime you're having a shared experience. Now, listen, boxing has been important to me for a while. The fact that I get to share that with her now, and she understands it on a better level because she's doing a bit of it. Really, again, it does help bring people closer. And, it's one of those things where each week we have this thing we're looking forward to. We have this thing that we're doing together. And it's something where we're doing self-improvement with each other. Yeah. Self-improvement's this thing that can be very difficult when you're very insular with it, when you don't have someone you're doing it with. And so when you have someone who's there right there with you, it is that much easier and is that much more enjoyable. So absolutely, the couples lessons have been great.
That's great.
Yeah.
And there's so many topics,
I was gonna say
we're gonna have, this is gonna be an ongoing thing, guys. I mean, trust me, I did not forget or miss anybody. The what we have gone through, obviously with COVID, and unfortunately the people we lost, and the people who we've gained from those losses. It brought new spark and new life into the gym, and they'll be remembered forever because of that. And we're gonna have more segments on that. We're gonna have more segments on the improvement you guys have had, the things that are coming, because there's huge things coming. I'm gonna get too excited talking about it.
I was gonna say
the passion is just gonna start.
We lost two phenomenal warriors this year, this past year from our gym, that were two stand-up phenomenal guys. And one man that was in our life for so many years, and we lost a great guy, man.
Couldn't believe it. Yeah.
Don.
Yeah.
Our guy Don. What a phenomenal human being. And Donald Duvert, we lost him at 39 years old, and I remember we had him from his 20s.
Yeah.
Right. And he was just one of the brightest guys in our gym, man.
Every piece of film I have of me either sparring or fighting, you hear him in the corner.
Unbelievable.
You hear him pushing you on. Unmistakable. You hear his excitement. You hear his laughter. Every single piece of training footage I have or fighting footage I have, he is somewhere in the background there pushing me on,
I miss him
cheering me on,
day,
sparring with him, just being around him.
God, what a light in our gym he was. And Donald, rest in peace, man. Yeah. We miss you so much. And I'll let you talk about the Spartan.
Yeah, and obviously Don was, close friend of mine, and that loss is going to be felt for a long time. As well as Chris, the Spartan Comito. I mean, we're going to definitely do next episode. I want to do a long, talk about this, the two guys. But Chris, the Spartan Comito, man, you and Don, you guys, you're our family, and Chris, your family and your friends are here now because of you, and you guys have really brought a new light to the gym, and we all have Chris to thank for that.
Chris was such a gentleman. What a gentleman, man!
I'm at a loss for words for him, man. It's just amazing people, amazing characters, and we're keeping them alive. I promise, they're never going anywhere. They're always going to be alive in this gym to what we do. So I'm really happy about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so. A lot of great stuff to come too, guys. So a lot of light coming forward.
That is to say, just make sure keep your eye on this space. Make sure that following us on Instagram. Why don't you throw out the Instagram and Twitter feeds and everything you have, social media?
So I've been told I've been told to do TikTok now.
Okay, so TikTok, there we go. Whatever you got.
I always tell you guys TikTok, right? You can cut that.
That was an old man joke. I'm sorry, the 40-year-old man didn't make that joke. Right. The man in his 20s made that joke. What is that,
man.
Casey?
Yeah.
Man, oh man.
Anyway.
We grew up on planes, trains, and automobiles, guys. Real comedy.
Casey.
Anyway, you're going to cut that out, I assume.
Oh, no. That is the centerpiece of the entire thing.
Anyway.
That's the promo right
TikTok, there. Instagram. I'm doing this for the YouTube channel. I want to, I want to launch that off.
Of course,
It's always going to be at Two Champs Boxing. So Two Champs Boxing. That's what it is. The TikTok's Two Champs Boxing.
Strong branding. Just
strong brand. I mean, let's keep it clean. You don't have to think about it. The website that's coming soon is going to be www.twochampsboxing.com.
All right.
Stay with it, guys. You will not be disappointed. All right?
All right.
Let's keep it going, fellas.
And on that, I want to thank you guys for joining us today. Hope you guys enjoyed our little talk here.
Absolutely.
It was a pleasure sitting down with you guys, as always.
As always. And trust me, guys, this show is going to get better. We're going to have more topics, more things, and, stick with us.
All right.
Thank you so much, guys.
Casey, Brett?
Brett. Maybe we'll fit him in the next one. All right.
He's out of here.
You're leaving us, Brett.
Yeah, you're out of here, buddy.
What do you say?
What I missed that guy.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I want to thank everyone out there who's watching, everyone who's sharing it. Of course, make sure you like and subscribe. If you like what we're doing, leave a comment down below. And of course, please share it anywhere on social media that you could, because it does help us get the message out about the gym. I want to thank everyone who's out there watching and listening. I want to thank you guys for being here today, and we'll be with you again next time.